Hello and welcome to Inkscape for Teachers. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how to draw what I call pinwheel patterns, such as these. So I'll go to a new blank document and let's start from scratch. First of all, the circles and ellipses tool, Control Shift Enter. You can see mine's drawing an arc, which is actually what I want, but yours will probably have a circle, which is this icon here converts to a circle. So if you start from something like this, what you need to do is just drag. If you move inside the circle you just get the arc, and drag yourself an arc, something like that. As long as it's, well, it can be anything you like, but I'll do a bit less than a semicircle. Back to the select tool, and I'm going to turn to a path, because if I don't, I've still got those ellipse. I'll show you if I click on it and press N for the node tool. They're the ellipse controlling points, but I want to turn into a path with nodes. So object to path, and you can see these nodes here now. Back to select tool, Control D to duplicate, reflect in both axes there, and snap them together. Ensure you've got cusp node snapping turned on. Select both of those, N for the node tool. Let's drag around that central node where they're overlapping, and click this icon here to join them together. Back to the select tool. So there's our basic curve that we're going to use, and now I'm going to rotate that 120 degrees under the transform menu, Control Shift M, go to the rotate tab and type in 120. Just apply it to itself, Control Z, it'll do that, but we need to Control D to duplicate it first, and then snap it together there. Another Control D, apply that rotation to the duplication. Drag it into position until it snaps, and there's our base unit. Drag a marquee around the lot, and then N for the node tool. Drag another marquee with the node tool, and join overlapping nodes. There we go. And now we can fill it. If we didn't, we'd get strange fill patterns, perhaps some outside the shape even. But let's fill it with that colour. Control D to duplicate, and I'm going to just rotate that 60 degrees now, and give the duplicate different colour, and drag it into position till it snaps. I'll zoom out a bit, Control D. You can see we're on the way to forming a hexagonal base shape. Control D, and things are snapping nicely into position. With that done, drag a marquee around the lot, Control G to group. I'll shrink it down now so it fits on a page, and Control D to start forming another hexagonal based pattern, sort of hexagons of hexagons. And there we go. You soon see the pattern. Okay, now if I drag a whole lot, drag a marquee around that, Control G to group those, so I've got a group of groups. Now the key is, if we want to use this to fill any area in a tessellation type fashion, we need to base it on a horizontal rectangle where the repetition is vertical and horizontal. I'll show you what I mean. If I move the mouse from here across, you can see I'm not hitting the equivalent points. If we call this the bird's beak, I move across, the next bird's beak is down. It's not in a horizontal line. I need to change that. So what I'll do is I'll drag down a guide, and let's snap it to, say, the beak on that bird there. And now if I click this object again, the centre of rotation is here. I'm going to drag it to that point there. Ensure that you've got snapping of rotation centres on. You probably won't, you'll need to turn that on. And now, while these rotation handles are here, if you lose them, just click twice slowly and rotate around, and we can drag up there in that fashion. I'm trying to get the birds horizontal, and you can see that, okay, I think I had one of them snapped. There's several things could snap there. If you look along here, I'll just go off again. That's off. You can see there's a wing snapping there with a little cross, but if I move down, you can see this little cross on the right in the middle, it's snapped there. Once I've done that, I've sort of got things you can see lined up horizontally, the pink and yellow rows now. Now that I've done that, after the rectangle tool, let's snap to, say, the middle of the three yellow birds there, and move across the next intersection of all of them. Then we go down to, let's see, an equivalent, let's say down to that point there for the moment. I'm going to zoom in just so I can show what I mean, and I'll shift click to make that a red rectangle, back to the select tool. Now you can see that vertically I've got this pattern in here. Imagine what's within the rectangle repeated below here. Now at the moment, if we repeated this, we're going to have a pink bird in this area here at the bottom, which is not what I want. So I'll click on that, I'll drag that down until I snap to, actually I might have to drag it by this corner there to the bird's beak on the yellow one. So you see I've gone vertically from an intersection of 3 yellow to an intersection of 3 yellow. I want to do the same going acrosswise. So it gets a bit confusing, but you want equivalent points. And if we drag across here to there, you can see now that this rectangle I've got, if I repeated it, you can see that the bottom of the next shape I'll need the majority of the pink bird to continue, and if this is in this square there's a majority of the pink bird that will continue. If you're not sure what I mean by all this, trial and error is a good way to learn. Make sure this rectangle is on top of everything else, raise it at the top using this icon, and then drag around the whole lot, including the rectangle and the pattern, and go Object, Clip, Set. Now that's going to be our repeating unit. If I type Alt-I, that puts it in our pattern library for use later on. I'll drag that over here and show you what I mean. Just notice it moved. So I've got different icons here. I can set that to move the pattern with the shapes, but at the moment I've got the shapes in an imaginary background, but they only show up through this window. So if I move it, move the window, but I'm looking at a different part of the shape. But it's up to you, I don't mind leaving it on that. Let's click a larger rectangle and drag a rectangle down here, and under the fill, click the pattern fill, and there we have it. It's repeated in that shape. Notice if I compress this, they look compressed but then they spring back into shape, and I can even do it with a circle or an ellipse. I drag around that, which I'll convert into a full ellipse, click the pattern fill, there it is. If you don't get the pattern you're after, check under this drop down arrow and scroll to the last of the patterns above the stripes, 1-1 there, above this line. So there you go. Notice if you do move this, the pattern within it moves, but you can control it with this icon. If I click that, then move it, the pattern doesn't move, so personal preference there. Now one other thing, you might have noticed some nodes appear before. If I click on this and then N for the node tool, see these nodes here. Not the ones on the actual rectangle, but they'll be not on the corners of the rectangle. Across a circle and a little square. Sometimes you have to pan right out to find them, might be over here somewhere, but in this case they are conveniently located. You can move the lot by dragging the cross, and notice the cross moves the pattern within the rectangle as well. So let's move it to a more convenient position there, and control click and drag the square towards the cross, changes the tessellation. That's incredibly powerful, look at that. You can come back to whatever you want. The circle rotates it around, so you can do all sorts of powerful tessellating things. I'll leave it there, and hope that you find that useful. Thanks for watching.